Unacademy. Let's crack it.
So
Please,
yeah, so can I give you two lines and can you tell me if you know?
I
Uh,
can try, sir.
नर हो न निराश करो मन को, कुछ काम करो, कुछ काम करो.
I have read this poem, but I'm not very sure about the poet.
Okay, Mathili Sharan Gupta. Now, what do you know about Mahadevi Verma and Ramdhari Singh Dinkar?
Sir, they are two of the four pillars of the Chayavadi movement in
Okay.
Hindi
All right.
literature.
What about Shankar Prasad?
Sir, I'm not very much aware of his work.
Which is regarded as the most important सर्वश्रेष्ठ हिंदी कहानी किसको माना जाता है? Which story is regarded as the best story in Hindi? The author had written hardly 5 or 6 stories in his lifetime.
Sir, I'll have to read more.
He comes from Rajasthan. Any idea?
I'm afraid not, sir.
Have you not read a story called Usne Kaha Tha?
No,
You have
sir.
not read it?
No, sir.
Okay. No, we'll go to some of that. Now tell me, we are now talking about something which is called as independent cinema. Have you heard about independent cinema? So what is independent cinema?
Sir,
And can you give some examples of independent cinema?
Sir, I have very little experience in that field. My understanding is that independent cinema is that which does not come from established production houses,
Correct.
but rather filmmakers on their own make these cinema. And
can you give one or two films which can be termed as independent cinema?
Sir, I'm afraid I do not have much interest in the field, so
you're not interested in
I
field.
can't
Okay.
name.
So there are many. So Jallikattu and Lunchbox, even the Kashmir Files which have been produced recently, that is generally termed as independent cinema. All right. Now, can you tell me some of the strengths of Madhya Pradesh? If you have to sell Madhya Pradesh to a foreign dignitary, a group of dignitaries, what will you say? Why they should come and invest in Madhya Pradesh?
So the biggest strength of Madhya Pradesh is the recent rise of its agricultural prowess.
Okay.
Currently, it is one of the largest producer states of wheat, and the Sharbati wheat is known for its quality nationwide.
Okay, that is one. What else?
And second would be, sir, the...
So, but why would they like to come for wheat? I mean, I'm asking you a specific question. You are selling Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
Why would they? Why should they come? Yes, you are talking about the strengths of Madhya Pradesh, but why should they come and invest? Why should they not go to Gujarat or to Haryana or to any other state? Why should they come to Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, Madhya Pradesh can offer large tracts of land, and we also have the recent renewable power source in
Okay,
Rewa.
so one is the cost of land, it will be minimal here.
Yes, sir.
The second is renewable energy sources. All right. What is
Yes,
the third one?
So third could be the interaction with the tribals, and we have a recent push towards traditional medicines.
Okay.
And some of the tribes in Madhya Pradesh, their knowledge of these traditional medicines is extensive, but it has not so far been researched in an institutional manner.
Okay, and then what is the next one? Any other things about the culture, about the food, about the many things typical of Madhya Pradesh? And
So-
what about other infrastructural facilities which are there?
So, in terms of the tourism industry, people can come along the Narmada circuit, where the Narmada originates in Madhya Pradesh in Amarkantak Hills, and that is a very beautiful place indeed. And by the time it reaches Jabalpur, we have Dhuadhar Fall, which at present the natural beauty of this place is very beautiful. However, its entire tourism potential has not so far been exploited.
My last question to you would be, what is this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav? What is Amrit about it and what is Mahotsav about it? And what exactly does it mean? It has been hugely popularized by the government. So, can you throw some light on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav?
Sir, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is mentioned because we are in the 75th year of independence, and we are entering, as our Honorable Prime Minister has named it, the Amrit Kal, between the 75th and the 100th year of independence, where we pursue structural reforms in several fields and reach our highest potential, not just economically but also culturally.
Thank you, Ashok ji.
This war between Russia and Ukraine going on, 2 months have already gone. In what ways does it show opportunities for India?
Sir, first of all, as our Honorable Minister has said, India does not look for opportunities out of adversities. That being said, we are exporting, we are coming up as an reliable partner for export of wheat to countries that need it. So that is a place where our export potential can be exploited, and we are also negotiating at the WTO to remove the restrictions related to MSP based procurement of wheat for exports.
Can you explain your last sentence again? Remove the MSP based procurement. What?
So remove the restrictions on for the food grains that are procured under MSP or similar regimes for food security. They are not allowed to be exported under the current WTO rules. So we are also negotiating so that we are allowed to export them.
Are you aware of the current wheat procurement cycle that is going on?
Sir, I do not have much data on it.
The reports are saying that the procurement by FCI is coming down. It is much less than last year.
I'll have to look into it.
Most of the wheat is being bought by private sector to export. Now suppose the wheat is exported in great quantity, what will happen?
Sir, if we if we export more than the surplus production, if we support out of the basic needs that are for India's population, then we can face rising prices as well as hunger in our own country as well.
The reports that wheat production also has gone down this year. In that condition, should we not ban exports right away?
Sir, we must also notice that we already have large stockpiles of wheat in the FCI. What we can do is to have a balance between export and our domestic needs. And
If there were stockpiles, the government would not be releasing rice instead of wheat.
yes, sir, in the recent PM, I think.
Very recently, the government of India has released rice replacing wheat to several states.
I've read on this.
Okay. And any other opportunity that the war has thrown for India?
Sir, our diplomatic engagements have risen across the spectrum. We saw the visits of various dignitaries to our country. Sir.
Now, there is a coal shortage going on in the country, and therefore correspondingly power shortage. Why has this coal shortage occurred?
So, first of all, is the usual pattern of hike in demand during the summer months has been a reason for coal shortage over several years. In this particular year, it has further been exacerbated because due to the pandemic, the production of coal, the levels had fallen, and however, after the sharp spike in the economic activity, the production levels have not been commensurately increased, and this has made the crisis even more severe than it used.
Anything to do with the international scenario?
So, oil prices are also rising, so it is the shift of energy consumption pattern towards coal is also increasing demand.
Shift of energy towards coal-based energy.
Yes, there is a short term. Coal is a cheaper source of energy than oil. So.
Okay.
So, what is Section 124A and why you call it in news? It is consistently in news of IPC Indian Penal Code.
So the Section 124A deals with sedition and it is generally in use because this provision has been used to curb freedom of speech in certain aspects when there is hateful.
Why it was enacted?
So, it was enacted during the colonial regime itself to basically curb our nationalist movement.
Nationalist movement. So you support that it should be removed because it's in a democratic state. What is your opinion on that?
So, the sedition law, which was enacted in India by the United Kingdom, it has been removed there. So there is a precedent for removing the act here as well. But it will depend on how we deal with speech and with hate speech and violence, and
So you support or not? Should it be removed or
so it should be removed.
it should be removed? Okay. So can you differentiate between freebies and public good?
Yes, sir. So
Public goods precisely.
public goods have two basic qualities. They are non-excludable and non-rival. So, on the other hand, sir, freebies are generally termed the dole-outs that come from the state towards the public.
Is it the state or the politicians or the political parties who are responsible for that?
So the political parties are only able to give it when they become part of the state itself. They promise it during the elections, but the freebies are given only by the state or central governments when they are in power. So it's basically from the state.
So what is your opinion on that? We should allow the political parties to dole out this kind of freebies and lead to a Sri Lanka-like situation?
So here we cannot have a blanket ban because some of the freebies are merit goods in the sense that they impact not just the direct beneficiaries but also the society at large. So these handouts cannot be curbed, and especially in the face of rising inequality in the country. However, other freebies that only have a positive impact for the direct beneficiary, for those, we can work towards alternative structures where those benefits are available through a more institutionalized manner and to a wider part of the society.
Can you name which are the freebies which are actually necessary or which can be creating a good impact on the society? An example?
Sir, for example, the Har Ghar Nal Se Jal scheme, water coming to the people. It is not exactly a freebie, but it is a merit good because water and sanitation are essential for our health and well-being.
Okay. Uh, you have worked in the French embassy as a intern. What was your work profile?
Sir, I was working as a research intern in the Centre de Science and Humans. It is a think tank in partnership with the French government, and my work was in educational inequality in the Indian perspective, sir.
So, how do you see the Indian education system with respect to the French education? You might have studied. So, what are the main differences between the same?
My study did not include.
Which I did not include it. Okay. So, what was the hierarchy of the embassy? Can you tell me the highest official in the embassy who represents?
Sir, highest official is generally the ambassador, but we did not deal with the embassy aspect, but rather limited ourselves to the think tank.
Thank you.
Your coordinator for Hindi Sahitya Sabha. How you will define Sahitya, the literature, in one sentence?
Sir,
Only one sentence here.
Sahitya has been called mirror to the society. Sahitya Samaj ka aina hai. I think that's the most apt description of literature.
Good. Now, what is the importance of Narmada Valley to Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, Narmada has been called the lifeline of Madhya Pradesh because it is the most important river for supplying of water to.
Why it is different from all other rivers?
Sir, it flows in a rift valley. The Narmada has not carved out its own path, but rather it flows due to the tectonical shifts caused the rift valley to form, and it flows.
That is the only reason.
That is what I.
It is perennial or it is seasonal?
It's a perennial.
Oh, it's perennial. So because there is no permanent source, not from any glacier.
It fills through the mainly through the rainwater, and it has several.
The rainwater, then if it is dependent on rainwater, then it will be seasonal.
But it contains water throughout the year.
That's why it is perennial. But what is the reason? From where it gets its water? You study more on that. Okay. Now tell the importance. Why it is lifeline here?
Sir, because of its role in the agriculture of the state as well as the culture of the state, sir. Because in Jabalpur itself, sir, there is a Narmada Aarti at Gauri Ghat, which.
Okay, religious, I understand. Then agriculture. What?
Sir, some canal systems at the local level as well as some dams are used for irrigation purposes.
Dams are also there. Which are the important ones?
Sir, I can remember Bargi Dam. It is in Jabalpur district.
You have the biggest dam.
The biggest dam is in Rajasthan, if I.
Rajasthan is not.
I can't remember the dam.
Talking of Narmada. Narmada dam.
So I can't remember.
Indra Sagar, you have not heard? Indra Sagar dam, the biggest dam in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, your hydel power source is very important one. 35 big dams on the Narmada itself. Okay, tell me, there is general perception about the police that it is inefficient and corrupt. Suppose you are appointed as an SP of a district, what will be your priority to eradicate this corruption?
Sir, as an SP of the district, my first step would be to understand what is causing the corruption, and
everybody knows what is causing the corruption. Now it is well known in the last 75 years. So what are the sources of corruption? What are the reasons?
sir, it would still be prudent to establish the local conditions that are causing corruption there. And next, if the corruption is because of the lack of facilities to the police officers.
Lack of facilities to the police officers. You give whatever facilities, the corruption will remain there. It is not because of facilities.
So my understanding is that a lack of income.
Suppose you give more money, more like you see facilities to police officers, there will not be any corruption.
I can compare with the defense services, where the defense personnel get adequate healthcare and education facilities, and at the lower levels especially there is.
They don't have much of opportunities, but wherever there is an opportunity, even in the defense, there is a corruption.
It's not as expansive.
Not as high as in the police. Okay, thank you.
Shreya,
Yes, ma'am.
economics. Given the decline in the economy, what kind of a recovery are we looking at now? Is there a recovery? That's my first question. And what kind of a recovery? Any alphabet you can pick up and tell me what kind of a recovery is it?
Currently, we are seeing a K-shaped recovery where some of the sectors are rapidly recovering and have even breached the pre-pandemic levels. For example, the services sector, the IT sector specifically in the services sector, it has been above the pre-pandemic levels. However,
What is K-shaped recovery?
when some sectors perform better than the other and they are recovering at a faster pace, so they look like the upper arm of the K, whereas the other sectors are still in slowdown or in a much slower growth, so they form the lower arm of the K.
So a sharp divergence.
Yes.
Okay.
The rest of the sectors. So in the lower arm of the K shape, we have sectors like the contact intensive services sector, as well as the MSMEs, who have been seeing a crunch since the pandemic.
Okay. Your other subject is mathematics.
I have not
Economics, maths.
formally studied mathematics after.
Okay, when is the National Mathematics Day?
Ma'am, it is on 22nd December.
Why?
It marks Srinivasa Ramanujan's birthday.
What is Vedic mathematics?
Vedic mathematics refers to shorthand techniques, as I understand, for solving larger calculations. I think the methods arise from our older scriptures and texts, but I'm not very sure.
Not sure. Please read on Vedic mathematics because the PM has been talking about it recently. Foreign service is your second choice. So the recent happenings, if you look at the Ukraine-Russia war, you also look at the COVID, the emergence of COVID, so-called a lab in China. Do you think the world bodies have lost their relevance? Do we need to restructure them, reform them? And don't give these two examples, give other examples.
So, there is certainly a need for restructuring of the global bodies. For example, the WTO. There we have seen that the dispute settlement body has come to a standstill because there is a need for consensus in appointing the uh, arbitrators there, and USA has been blocking that in the recent years. And you've already mentioned the failure of WHO in terms of.
No, I haven't. I'm saying in the light of the recent happenings. I didn't say they have failed.
So, should I use that example to
yeah.
explain? So, in case of WHO as well as the UN Security Council, the presence of veto powers in the UNSC has restricted its role in the Ukraine crisis because Russia, who is the aggressor in this case, has been using its veto to stop actions against itself. So there is certainly a need of reforms where more democratization is required in the international bodies.
Reforms are required or they should be disbanded. They've lost their relevance.
Ma'am, they cannot lose their relevance so long as we are in a globalized world, and we need to have a forum to talk on the issues of importance, and they do provide that. We need to strengthen them so that the dialogue that occurs there also translates into action, and action that benefits all, not just a smaller group that has power.
Okay, my last question. Is Hindi the national language?
No, ma'am. Our constitution does not declare any national language. Hindi has been called the official language.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Shreya, we will take you back for a few minutes to the waiting room. We'll bring you back again for giving our views and your feedback.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
So, just to stay there for a few moments, we'll call you. Okay, Shreya, so when is your interview fixed?
17th May, sir.
Okay, so you almost have about 12, 13 days, 17th of May. The first time you are going to appear at the CSE interview?
Yes, sir.
Interview is the first time.
Yes.
Okay, tell us, how do you think you fared at this mock interview, which lasted for almost 20-25 minutes?
Sir, in some areas I could have done better in terms of preparation and articulation.
Which are the areas?
For example, Hindi literature, I'm not prepared in that much depth, and in terms of my state, strengths of Narmada River and its dams.
About Madhya Pradesh as such.
Yes.
Okay.